Look, if I were to show you these animals, chances are you're very familiar with them. See, in games, we anchor ourselves to what we know, and we tend to like what's familiar and what we know. But the thing is, when we know something, we kind of like brush it off because it's obvious, and obvious is less interesting. But you know that feeling of wanting to play a game again because you keep losing and you know exactly what to do differently next time you play, so you want to run it back? That's how Fauna feels like, but you're not constantly losing. Instead, you're getting rewarded for just being close. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wolf Pack. I'm so excited to see all of you today as we are talking about Fauna. Now, as always, today is not a sponsored review, it never is. I only am making this video because I truly want to. So with that said, it is called a trivia game, but I don't want that to deter you away from it because there is a lot more to it than that. Now in Fauna, and this is actually a revised edition because there was an original edition of Fauna, so Rascalers is coming out with a second edition. But in Fauna, you're trying to be an animal expert. Thing is, you don't need to be an actual animal expert, but it would help if you're a pro zoologist or someone that just knows everything about every single animal. Either way, there are 360 animals to choose from. It's a buttload of animals. The blue side are your basic animals. This is what you should start off with if you are playing the game. And then once you're ready to go to the expert mode, these animals are more difficult to guess all of their metrics for. Now, speaking of metrics, there's a metric side, and for us lazy Americans, there's also an imperial side as well. This map is double-sided. It's 2 to 6 players. You just grab a set of cubes in whatever color you want. There are 7 cubes total, and then the black cubes over here are your evaluation cubes. So on your turn, all you're gonna do is look at the very first animal in this deck of cards. So let's pick a random one, totally by chance. Oh, how interesting. Here we have the wolf. 360 animals, that's a 1 out of 360 chance. So everyone's gonna look at this animal and the game's gonna give you a little hint. So here it says the wolf is in 24 areas and it also has a weight, length, and tail length. Now, not all animals, of course, will have a tail, so tail length may be excluded from some animals. But this is an easy one. There's 24 areas, that's a ton of areas to work with. For instance, some other animals, like if you're looking at the gerbil here, this is only in one area. And of course, this bottom half will be blocked off in that card holder. So now on my turn, I'm gonna take one cube, I'll play as white. And with this cube, I can guess exactly where the wolf is, which there's a huge chance. There's 24 areas that the wolf can be in. Or I can also guess its weight, or its length, or its tail length. So with my guess token, I'm gonna go for California because we for sure have wolves. So I'm gonna put my marker over there. Next person goes, they're gonna take their marker and let's say they wanna guess the weight of the wolf. So green will say they're what, like 100 pounds? So maybe they'll put it right here between 100 and 200 pounds. So anything in that range, they're gonna score for that. Red's gonna go and maybe they're gonna guess, let's see, the length. They're probably like 6 to 10 feet. Yellow's gonna go, let's say, I think they are in Eastern Europe. And then if we're sticking to the 4-player example, let's say it's my turn again, and I have a choice now. I can either keep guessing or pass. So why do you want to pass? Because at the end of the round, you only get 1 cube back. If you ever use more than 1 cube, you're gonna lose that for the rest of the game. And if you're ever under 3, it replenishes back up to 3. So if you wanna really lock in and try to guess as many as you can, then you can keep putting out your cubes. So I'm gonna do just that. Let's say, I'm pretty set on the tail length. I will say that their tails are at least 1 foot long. For the sake of example, let's say everyone else passes, and then all you do is reveal that card from the box. So we're gonna take this out, bam, and then it's gonna tell you the locations of where the wolf is, and it's gonna highlight the regions where they are. So there's obviously a ton of areas to look at if you're looking at this map over here, but you're gonna take the black evaluation cubes, and then what's easier is that you're gonna place these exactly where you need to put them. So for me, I'm not gonna put out all 24 cubes for each region, more so the regions that are relevant to what's being guessed on for the map. Wait, they're not in California? Oh, we have coyotes, not wolves. That's embarrassing, and for sure not gonna make the final cut. Nope, gotta take that out. Okay, so They're actually here in the Rocky Mountains. They are in Eastern Europe. You're gonna look up here for the weight, and again, also in both metric systems, whichever one you prefer. So the weight here is between 48 to 176 pounds. So cube here, 48, green is gonna be scoring points there. Length, 2.6 to 5.2 feet. So that's gonna be right here. Oh, wow, they're 5 feet long. They're actually shorter than 6. Okay. And then the tail length is between 1 to 1.5 feet. I knew that. And then lastly, we score. So the scoring table is right here on the bottom right corner of the board. Let's first look at areas. So the quantity of areas here are 24 areas. So we're gonna look here at 17 plus, which means if you get it correct and are on that area precisely, you're gonna get 3 points. But if you are adjacent, in this case, you're gonna score 0. So even if I'm adjacent with California here to the Rocky Mountains, I'm still gonna score 0 for there, but yellow is spot on, so yellow's gonna score 3 points. One of these markers actually are used to score. And then from there, we go to the weight. If you're correct, you get 7 points. And if you are adjacent to that, you get 3 points. So green is spot on, so green is gonna score 7 points right off the bat. Red is going to score adjacent points, which is 3 points. And then white, which is me in this case, I score that spot on and get 7 points. The game is over as soon as someone reaches 80 points for 6 players, 100 points for 4 to 5, and 120 points for 2 to 3 players. Right after that, we take all of our evaluation cubes off, and then everyone gets 1 cube back and you play again. That's how the game works. So what do I enjoy about this game? I like how you can take risks anytime you want to reach that high payoff, because since you have multiple guesses, you can either spread them out over the entire game or go front heavy or put them all towards the end and just go crazy at the very end. I love that aspect about the game, that you have the flexibility in doing so. And then to hash on this point one more time, but I know it's called trivia, and the thing is, when you hear that word trivia, you automatically think, I'm gonna be asked a question. If I don't know it, I'm screwed, because that's it. You either know the answer to the question or you don't. That's how most trivia games work. That's not how Fauna works, and that's what I love about this game, which is you can guess and be close and still score points regardless of where you are. Especially when you have animals like, you know, the wolf and everything, where there's a ton of regions. There's that incentive and that feel-good feeling where you can still be close by and still score points, and then everyone's gonna be moving up the track. We also are gonna have some big bonus turns too. Like if you go all out and you are spot on, you might score 20, 30 points in one round, which actually happened in one of our games for a 4-player game. This is definitely something that I like a lot more at a higher player count, because this is a great icebreaker type of game. It's one where it's a very light family game. If you're looking for a game that you just wanna like chill with, a medium length game that is super light to play and yet way funnier than it seems, I think Fauna's gonna be a great fit for you. That's one other thing I wanted to point out too, is that it is deceptively funny. Like, you don't think a game like this would involve any kind of humor or anything, but when you play it, there are a lot of moments where the information is obvious. That's why I mentioned in the very beginning, where like, we anchor ourselves to what's familiar, and like, we think like, oh, a squirrel, a frog, whatever. But then you realize that, do you really know stuff about those animals? Like the wolves, for instance, I thought they're in California, but they're actually, those are coyotes. So like, you have that information where it's familiar. And it's kind of funny where like, everyone thinks they know it, and then the card gets revealed, and in reality, you don't know anything about a frog. You don't know anything about a rainbow trout. And I think that instance sets you up for like a funny game night. Now, one thing I would love to see this improve on is actually the consistency. So with a game like this, you obviously have a ton of animals to choose from, and that really helps with variety and keeping the game fresh. But the thing is, you're obviously going to run into an instance where, okay, the same thing is happening every single turn. We put a guess, we get it, and then next animal, and it kind of churns through the deck of cards. But even if there's 360 animals and you only get through like 7 to 10 animals per game, I think one thing I would love to see is like an event deck. And this right here would be really cool. For instance, I think if the event deck ties in the theme a little more, and maybe we are animal surveyors and we're out here surveying animals and trying to figure out where they are and everything. And then all of a sudden the event deck pops out, and let's say like a small little deck of cards where like all of a sudden we have a thunderstorm. And in this tropical thunderstorm, we're only allowed to make one guess this turn, but that one guess is now worth 2 or 3 times the amount of points that you would normally score. See if the event deck introduces an element of surprise that keeps things interesting like that. I think the gameplay would really ramp up and it give you more incentive to just keep things constantly fresh aside from having new animals. So having an event deck where things change and it raises the stakes and it kind of amplifies the gameplay throughout, I think something like that would be a great fit for Fauna. But other than that, I mean, it meets exactly what it's supposed to do, which is a light family icebreaker type of game and something that is played. I wouldn't say it's a fast game, but I would say it's like a medium length game, maybe like 45 to an hour-ish for overall playtime. Overall, I had a lot of fun with it. I did enjoy it too at 2 players because I played this with my niece and she absolutely loves it, especially with all the animals and the unique artwork and everything. And there's so many animals to choose from. I think that's one of the biggest highlights for sure. So with that said, hope you all enjoyed today's review about Fauna. If you have any questions about this game, go and let me know down in the comments below and check out their campaign, which I will link in the description box. And if you made it to the very, very end, I'm gonna pick a random animal out of this deck, and this is going to be the make it at the end of the video comment, okay? All right, this is totally random for sure this time. I'm not rigging it or anything. If you made it here to the very end, go ahead and comment. Let's do yellow side. Go ahead and comment. Bam! Milk. Oh, that's easy. There we go. The milkfish. If you made it here to the very, very end, go ahead and comment milkfish. And thanks so much, Wolfpack, for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.